As I was preparing for the talk this week, I asked myself, what do they want to hear this week? And I even went around and started asking some people at the school, what do you want to hear in a 10 talk? And it's easy enough to come up with a spiritual anecdote or tell you something about personal growth and holiness, but I think we're all looking for something a little bit more. And I also told myself, you know what? If I'm tired, they're tired. And when you're tired, growing personally is a very difficult thing to do. Sometimes we just need a little bit of inspiration. And so that's what I'd like to try and focus on this week. This is an open invitation to send in your topics that you would like to hear about. Please let me know if there's something that you're just wondering if I have any knowledge on. And if I don't, I'll research it and try and give you something that is worthwhile and beneficial to your personal life and your family life. So, how about some inspiration? In recent weeks, I've had a number of experiences that have motivated me to be a more authentic person in every circumstance of my life. And you just never know when you're going to be asked to do something that's going to affect somebody else's life. You never know who you're going to meet on the train or who you're going to pass on the road, who you're going to encounter at the school. And you could be influential in one of those moments in your daily life. So some of the students at the school had an assignment in their religion class of going and finding a priest to interview. And as you can imagine, many of them, they came and asked the school chaplain, right? It's an obvious choice for a lot of them. And so I was being asked questions, and they were learning more about the priestly vocation. And I was giving them answers that I found actually ended up helping me as well. So this project, thumbs up for that one, because it made me reflect on some things that are beautiful about my priesthood and some things that I could share with them. So among the questions, I found one that specifically was interesting for me. It caught my interest in a different way. And the question was something along the lines of this: what do you wish more people knew about priests that they typically don't know? And I gave them an answer that maybe they or their teacher wasn't exactly looking for, but I feel like it was a good answer and is something that's going to help them in their relationship with priests in the future. I told them that if there's something that I wish that people knew about priests, it was that they have more interests than just speaking about God and Jesus and the church. They actually have hobbies, they have loves and things that they like to do. And these can open on a whole new world, open doors to the relationship with the priest that can benefit both the priest and them in their encounters with priests. So sure, these are likely top interests, but there's more that we can relate to with a priest when we know his hobbies, right? So in particular, I shared with them that I like to go outdoors and to go hiking. I like skiing, I like skating, and especially I like disc golf. Now, disc golf is not a super well-known sport. It's becoming more well-known, and there's parks all around Calgary that allow me to enjoy the outdoors and get some exercise, but also to encounter a lot of people. And this is the part where I hope there's some inspiration. So I take these discs and I go out on the disc golf course and I try to throw them into the basket. And I often go with friends. I meet lots of people at the course as well. There's a wonderful community of disc golfers around Calgary. And we have fun together and we challenge each other, right? We push each other to the next limit. So this past weekend, I was playing with a group of young men. And some of them I was very familiar with. Some are alumni from the school. And I've gotten them into disc golf. They've gotten their own sets of discs, and we go out and play quite frequently. So as we went from one snowy tee pad to the next, and yes, you can play in the winter, but you have to be a little bit more careful because your disc can get lost in the snow. So when we went from one tee pad to the next, our conversations were, along the lines of great shot, or, a little bit chirping on each other about the shot that was made that hit the tree, right? Those kind of things. But then eventually, the young men in the group that were not Catholic, and I had been on a number of trips with them, they start to ask questions, as is typical of the curiosity of a human mind and in encountering somebody who has dedicated their life to religion, right? And I think the interesting thing in all of this is that this hobby, this interest that I have, is something that I can connect with them on. And so I usually try to use that to leverage a little bit of a moment where, yes, I'm enjoying my moment of rest, but also I know that God wants to use this to touch somebody else's life. So the young man asked me, so I understand you're a priest, but what exactly does that mean? And so I gave him the answer, well, I've been ordained by a bishop, and he has conferred upon me the powers of the church to celebrate the sacraments, and I've taken vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience in order to serve the church better. Something along those lines, right? And it was interesting because the one thing he pulled out of that was, wait, so did you say chastity? You have to live chastity? That means you can't have a girlfriend? And many of the conversations that I have with the people on the disc golf course, they come up with questions that express to me where they're at on their spiritual journey. And in a sense, it's almost like a spiritual direction in an environment that has no structure of religion, but actually is a moment that God uses to allow them in some way to come closer to God through me. And so I love those moments, I love those experiences, and I love that people are open enough to start those conversations. I played with fallen away Catholics, I played with transgender individuals, I've played with pot smokers who've offered me if I want to smoke, and I usually always tell them no. And with friends, I often play with friends, and generally just a really great group of people out on the disc golf course. So it's a great community, and they all need an experience of God, and that's what I aim to offer them when I'm out there. I should add that my goal of disc golfing isn't so much an effort to evangelize per se. It's actually getting out to get some exercise, to have a healthy and balanced life that I need, right? I need those moments of rest in order to do my duties well. But I do like those opportunities to evangelize, and I see that as God using me in the circumstances of my daily life and reaching souls that probably haven't been to church in a while or don't necessarily have God at the center of their lives, but they can experience somebody who is trying to be authentic in their living of the Catholic faith. And in that way, hopefully I can evangelize with my example what I am trying to live in my authentic life. So the shock of, encountering a priest on the disc golf course is interesting because I don't go out there wearing a collar, right? I go out there just carrying my discs, and I make an effort to, not swear and live a authentic, good example of everything that I'm trying to represent. But I don't go out there and immediately say I'm a Catholic priest. I actually have a strategy that I just kind of developed over time. But I go out there and I don't introduce myself necessarily as Father Michael. I introduce myself as, I'm Michael. Or some know me as Padre out there now because they've come to see me so many times, or Father Mike, right? They all have the different way that they relate with me. But as soon as we get going and we're playing a few holes, the question always comes up. So what do you do for a living? Either I ask it or they do, and I'm able to respond to their question, well, I'm a Catholic priest, and I work at a school as a chaplain. And through that story, just about learning a little bit about me, well, first of all, the language really cleans up pretty quick on the disc golf course. If there was any swearing, they don't want to do that in front of a priest, so that's always nice. But then there's also the deeper faith journey that they start to express, where they're at, if they were once a Christian, if they found difficulties in the church, if they, where they're at. And I'm able to kind of understand that, listen to them, listen to their story, and shoulder to shoulder as we go through the course, just kind of have a conversation about what's going on in life and how maybe God is trying to invite them through this experience of encountering me to come back into their faith a little bit more. So that shock factor is especially effective when I've been playing a good round, right? Because they see, oh, Father knows how to play, and he actually is pretty normal. And then we can start asking some deeper questions. And I pray to the Holy Spirit that I can have the answers to their questions so that I can lead them on that journey. So for me, these experiences of going deeper with people around something that I enjoy has really come naturally, right? It's something that I hope to share with you in order that you can do it too. It's almost selfish and but maybe more it's an area of self-care that I see as something beneficial to me and my health, but that I can also live in my priestly vocation. So hopefully this talk will help you to be inspired and consider how in your daily life and what you're doing in your day-to-day can help you to express God's work and what he's doing in you and use you as an instrument for those that you are accompanying. So I hope that this talk has been helpful to you. It's something a little different than what I've done in the past, but I want to be authentic and sincere with you and to lead you as a spiritual father to discover in those moments that you are living just your daily life, that you can be a model of Christian living and evangelize those you encounter. So I wish you a wonderful and blessed week, and if you're interested in going for a round of disc golf, just let me know. Happy to take you out on the course. God bless, and have a wonderful week.